Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you're giving your all, but something just feels off? Maybe you've been trying to connect on a deeper level, but no matter how hard you try, it feels like there's an invisible wall between you and your partner. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us have struggled with understanding emotional availability in relationships, and it's often one of the most confusing aspects of being with someone. The reality is, emotional availability, or the lack of it, can make or break a relationship. But what does it really mean to be emotionally available, and how can you tell if your partner, or even you, might be emotionally unavailable? Today, we will be uncovering the signs of emotional unavailability and offering insights on how to build a stronger, more emotionally connected relationship. I've seen so many people, myself included, get caught up in relationships where everything seems perfect on the surface. Great communication, shared interests, and physical chemistry, but there's still a lingering sense that something is missing. That something is often emotional availability, which is crucial for a fulfilling and lasting connection. So, what exactly is emotional availability? Simply put, it's the ability to be present, open, and vulnerable in a relationship. It's about being able to share your thoughts and feelings with your partner and being receptive to their emotions as well. When two people are emotionally available, they create a safe space for each other, where both can be their true selves without fear of judgment or rejection. But let's be honest, emotional availability is easier said than done. It requires a level of self-awareness and maturity that not everyone has. Many people carry emotional baggage from past experiences. Whether it's a traumatic childhood, a painful breakup, or even just the fear of getting hurt. That makes it difficult for them to fully open up to someone else. And sometimes, we don't even realize that we're the ones who are emotionally unavailable. Just the other day, I was talking with a friend who was feeling frustrated in her relationship. She said her partner was great in so many ways. He was kind, attentive, and they had a lot of fun together. But whenever she tried to discuss deeper topics, like their future or how they felt about each other, he would shut down or change the subject. This left her feeling lonely and disconnected, even though they were spending so much time together. This conversation made me realize how common it is to misinterpret emotional unavailability. It's easy to think that someone isn't interested or doesn't care, but often, the truth is that they're scared. They're scared of being vulnerable, scared of opening up, and scared of the potential pain that comes with deep emotional connection. Think about it. Have you ever been with someone who seemed perfect on paper, but when it came to discussing emotions or the future, they became distant or evasive? It's like there's a barrier that prevents you from truly connecting, and no matter how hard you try, you can't break through. This is a classic sign of emotional unavailability, and it can be incredibly frustrating and hurtful for both parties involved. One of the most challenging aspects of emotional unavailability is recognizing it within yourself. I remember a time in my own life when I was dating someone who was wonderful, caring, supportive, and genuinely interested in me. But every time the relationship started to get serious, I found myself pulling away. I would make excuses, focus on their flaws, or convince myself that it wasn't the right time for a relationship. It wasn't until much later that I realized I was the one who was emotionally unavailable. I was so afraid of getting hurt that I put up walls, even with someone who was ready and willing to love me. This realization was a turning point for me. I had to confront my own fears and insecurities and ask myself some tough questions. Why was I so afraid of vulnerability? What was I protecting myself from? And most importantly, how could I start to break down those walls and become more emotionally available? If any of this resonates with you, it's important to understand that emotional availability isn't just about being able to talk about your feelings. It's about being able to truly connect with another person on a deep emotional level. It's about letting someone in, even when it's scary, and being willing to share not just the good parts of yourself, but the messy, complicated parts too. So, how do you know if you or your partner might be emotionally unavailable? Here are some common signs. Avoiding deep conversations. If your partner avoids discussing emotions, the future, or anything that requires vulnerability, this could be a sign of emotional unavailability. They might steer the conversation toward lighter topics or shut down when things get serious. Inconsistency in behavior. Emotional unavailability often shows up as inconsistency. One day, your partner might be all in, attentive, affectionate, and present, and the next, they might be distant or hard to reach. This hot and cold behavior can leave you feeling confused and insecure. Fear of commitment. If your partner avoids making plans for the future or hesitates to define the relationship, it could be because they're afraid of committing emotionally. This doesn't necessarily mean they don't care about you, but rather that they're struggling with their own fears and insecurities. Difficulty expressing emotions. Someone who is emotionally unavailable might struggle to express their feelings, even when they're strong. They might avoid saying "I love you," or have a hard time opening up about their needs and desires in the relationship. Focus on surface-level connection. If your relationship feels like it's all about having fun and avoiding serious topics, this could be a sign of emotional unavailability. While it's great to enjoy each other's company, a truly fulfilling relationship requires more than just fun. It requires depth and connection. Past trauma or unresolved issues. Often, emotional unavailability stems from past trauma or unresolved emotional issues. If your partner has a history of difficult relationships or emotional pain that they haven't worked through, this could be affecting their ability to connect in the present. If you recognize these signs in your relationship, it's important to approach the situation with compassion and understanding. Emotional unavailability is often a defense mechanism, a way to protect oneself from potential pain. But it's also a barrier to true intimacy, and if left unaddressed, it can prevent a relationship from growing and thriving. So, what can you do if you or your partner is emotionally unavailable? The first step is awareness. Recognizing the problem is crucial, and it's important to have open and honest conversations about how you're feeling. If you're the one who is emotionally unavailable, it's time to take a hard look at what's holding you back. This might mean seeking therapy, working through past trauma, or simply making a conscious effort to be more open and vulnerable in your relationship. If your partner is the one who is emotionally unavailable, try to understand where they're coming from. Approach the conversation with empathy and without judgment. Let them know how their behavior is affecting you and the relationship and encourage them to explore their feelings. Sometimes, just acknowledging the issue can be the first step toward change. However, it's also important to set boundaries and take care of yourself. If your partner is unwilling or unable to work on their emotional availability, you need to decide whether the relationship is meeting your needs. Remember, you deserve to be in a relationship where you feel emotionally connected and supported. At the end of the day, emotional availability is essential for a healthy, fulfilling relationship. It's what allows us to truly connect with another person, to feel understood and supported, and to build a relationship that can withstand the ups and downs of life. If you're struggling with emotional availability, know that you're not alone, and that it's something that can be worked on with time, patience, and effort. If this information helped you in your situation, please subscribe and feel free to leave a comment.